Well, welcome again. I am Dr. Tara Bangle. I am the Undergraduate Research Development Manager for the Smith Institute of Applied Research. And I didn't catch that edit right there that needs to happen. And today's workshop is on writing an abstract. So just real quickly, I've introduced myself. Our executive director for the Smith Institute is Dr. Diane Bowles. Dr. Erica Dugo is our newest team member. She's the faculty research associate and also an adjunct professor in the Department of Natural Science and Mathematics. Miss Margaret Watson is our administrative assistant. And then we also have with us today, Ms. Keisha Talbot Johnson, Research and Communications and Special Projects Manager.
Hello and welcome.
So a little bit about Smith Institute before we get started. Smith Institute exists to really enhance undergraduate research across our campus at Johnson C. Smith. So this means for all students from all backgrounds, all disciplines. We want you all to have opportunities to engage in research and creative works as well. So we offer several different resources to help students. One that I want to highlight is our YouTube channel, where you can find lots of tutorials, how to make surveys, for example, using some free software or software that's free to you. Smith Institute pays for that, a Qualtrics subscription. How to sign up for the Student Opportunity Center, which is something really good for students to learn more about and find opportunities like internships, conferences that are related to your specific interest. But we really do this. We really want students engaged in research because of some of these benefits that you see in the bottom right-hand side of this slide. So we know that undergraduate research, it's an experiential learning opportunity, and in that way, it allows students to explore career directions. Once you explore career directions and you're getting these hands-on learning opportunities, these are also skills, activities that you can then add to your resume and really help enhance your resume. As you're doing research or producing a new creative works, like a play, for example, you're contributing knowledge in your given field. And then this is also a way to impact the world. So your research, your contribution to knowledge, it has a greater impact. You also build a lot of transferable skills through your engagement in research. These can include written and oral communication, because you're going to oftentimes be writing a report. Today, we're talking about writing an abstract. Many times students also present their work through oral presentations. Research teaches us to be critical thinkers, and also it improves our problem-solving skills. These are all things that we want to promote as we're applying for jobs. Research also, the process of research, you also learn how to summarize information. So many of you might have learned about a literature review, and there you're summarizing information. Even the abstract writing is summarizing information. And finally, research, creative works, it's also about advocating, learning to advocate for and defend your work, because you're crafting an argument and backing up that argument with the appropriate facts. You see on campus, this is our building. We're in the Carnegie building. We're right in the center of campus, across from the library, and you'll find us there on that main floor if you just go up that main set of steps. Keisha, I know you said you had to step out, but if you wanted to add anything, if you're still on, if you wanted to add anything at this point, just let me know. Okay. All right, so today's objectives, we're going to, by the end of this workshop, you'll be able to write an abstract And I'll also talk a little bit about submitting an abstract as well. So let's just do some introductions before we get started, and this shouldn't take long, Isaiah, but just tell us, a little bit about yourself, your name, major, your year, where you are in your research, kind of what you're doing for your research project, and then if you've ever written an abstract before.
My name is Isaiah Thompson, and my major is communication, arts and communication, and my year is 2023. Where are you? Basically, we're kind of taking the book and seeing its topic, putting it into like a research paper, like you know how a lot of books have different like genres and focus on different major topic that's real life, and we're taking that and putting it um as our own research, like inspiration as towards research, a research paper, and we have to write an abstract and then an introduction, and then basically talk about our topic based on the book that we read.
Mm-hmm. Are you in Dr. Ree's class?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
And no, I haven't read an abstract before.
Okay. All right. Well, you've come to the right place. And I think what Dr. Ree has, this assignment, I've worked with her students in the past. I think you oftentimes, you read a book and you use that, you use that what you find in that book as that narrative there to kind of frame an argument about maybe kind of make a general argument about that, about a particular phenomena or condition that author is writing about. So I think you're making, oftentimes what she's asking you to do is take that author's story and connect it to a broader sort of picture, a broader narrative. All right. Well, good. Welcome. It's nice to meet you. So if your year is 2023, you're a second year student right now? Or no? Yeah. Third year.
I'm a junior.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going. My controls are not, there we go. Sure I didn't skip anything. Okay, well, an abstract, just, overall, it provides a rather broad overview of your project. And it also serves the purpose of getting others interested in your research. So an abstract is the first thing somebody is going to see about your research. So you might be presenting at a conference, or you might, submit your paper to our undergraduate research journal. And that reviewer is going to look at your abstract, and also as people read your abstract, they're going to be determining if they want to, if that research is relevant to their interest, and if they want to continue on and read your entire paper or come to your presentation. So here are some characteristics of effective abstracts. They are generally going to just be one paragraph in length. They might range from 100 to 250 words. Those limitations will oftentimes be set by like a conference, if that's where you're submitting your abstract for review, or a journal article. They will oftentimes set that word limit. Effective abstracts are going to really concisely state all those major elements of your project. And so we'll get into this a little bit deeper, but they're going to include your purpose or research method statement, Also, very quickly summarize what methods you used in your findings, as well as the conclusions and recommendations from your paper. And in doing that, they're going to follow the same progression as your paper. So that progression that I just stated, going from purpose to recommendations, that's generally the outline that your own research paper is going to follow. And so that's what the abstract will also do. It'll follow that same progression. It's not going to contain any new information. And it should be understood without reading the paper. So this is a standalone type of paragraph here that the reader should be able to understand without having to go to your paper. It's also going to be jargon free, and that way it can be understood by a wide range of audience members. So the elements of an abstract, and I touched on this just briefly in as I went over the characteristics of effective abstracts. The elements of an abstract, it's going to include an introduction sentence, and that's where it explains the topic, the purpose, or the research question. I think likely in writing something in the humanities, that's going to be more like the topic. Topic and purpose. Research question might actually be framed more as a research type of statement. And so in that introduction sentence, what you're essentially doing is you're explaining why the research was done and what problem is being addressed through the research. You're then going to talk about the methods. So the methods is that's what you actually did for your research. How were you able to address this question or this problem that was proposed? What type of data did you use, and what was that analysis that you did? And then finally, you're going to share the results or the findings, which is essentially what did you learn from the research? And then the abstract concludes with the so what. What is the meaning of those? What's that conclusion and those recommendations? How does this contribute to our knowledge? So I've got a group exercise, and what we're going to do here. It'll be easy since I won't have to put you into breakout rooms, but I'm going to pull up an example here, a sample abstract for you. What is going on? And so I've got several sample abstracts that were written by other students. You can see this on my screen now, right, Isaiah?
Yes, I do.
Okay. And so we'll look at this humanities example. Since you're working on this for an English class. And so we're going to take this and we're going to break it into, actually what I'm going to need, because you'll need to see, I need to do like a side-by-side view here. We're going to break it, we're going to break it into these different, into these four different components. Let me just. Okay. Can you see? You can see my desktop now. So you should be able to see the sample abstract on the left, and then the elements of the abstract on the right. Is that right, Isaiah?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good. Good. All right then. So looking at this example about the Nietzsche book, or Nietzsche and Dostoevsky. Can you identify why it was done and what problem is being addressed? Where is that introduction sentence? And for the most part, these are going to follow that sequential order there.
Are you talking about the first one?
Yeah. So this humanities echoes from the underground, that first abstract. Like based on that, what sentence there includes the topic and purpose in the research statement?
The first one, I assume. Like the first, not the first one, but the second sentence.
The second sentence starting with Dostoevsky right here.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think you're right. Because the author of this abstract is beginning with this statement, that that Dostoevsky's has had a profound impact on many writers. Yep. So I think that's his kind of thesis statement that he's going to go on to talk in more detail about. You're right. And then what about the research methods? And that's, what did the author do? Or what did the researcher do? How was he, able to establish this, that Dostoevsky had this profound impact?
It's the third one. The third sentence explains that when it says through research on his writing style, biology, and close reading of a novel, and how it impacts his famous outcast.
Yep. So through research and a close reading of the novel. And then I think here, when we get here, like, what are you seeing there?
It basically explores why those examples have impacted. It's like kind of like evidence, like it broke it down to like many connections, and why other like writers are inspired by his basically his style of writing.
I think it's also going back to the research purpose, right? He says he's exploring. So the method was research on the writing style, biography, and reading this novel. But then this is going back to describe, the more the purpose of the research. Does that make sense to you? Do you see that?
Yes, I do.
I almost, in looking at my prompt over here, when it says, what did you do? That might be better. Like, how did you do the research? So I think if we just look at that, I'm exploring the impact. I think that does answer that question. What did you do? But it might be better if this, for number 2, describe the research methods, like how did you answer the research question? And then this kind of would stand out more as being part of that number 1, describing the research problem.
Yeah.
All right. So then what were the results? What did the researcher learn?
That basically the stylistic and textual methods had some similarities.
Yep.
That section where he talks about Ken, Ellen, and Jack. That's, I believe it was the 4th sentence. It's mostly the ending of the 4th sentence.
There we go. Right here.
Yeah.
And then the so what?
And then the next sentence, it basically explains, like, it goes on to tell basically why.
Yeah, so I think that we can, these last two sentences then, point to the conclusions.
Yeah.
Yep. So we had another student to join us. If you just want to unmute and introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, my name is Sayla Hazel. I'm a senior here at Johnson C. Smith and also a dance major. So I'm in the process of my senior thesis work at this time, and I've been taking academic research with Dr. Ree to kind of support my writing techniques and better myself for my senior thesis.
Good. Well, welcome, and we're glad to have you. We've just been here in Dr. Ree's class. Will you do me a favor before I forget? Just sign in via the chat, and be sure to let me know your name, your email address, and actually let me know that be sure and mark that you're here for Dr. Ree so I can tell Dr. Ree that you attended. And then also add in your major, and then write down your student, your classification, like you're a senior. And would you mind going back and adding that additional information, please, Isaiah?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Will you please include your email address in that chat box? as well as your major and your classification. Thank you. Well, did you say Selah or Sela?
You got it right the first time. It's Selah.
Selah. Okay, I thought so. We were just going over the elements of an abstract and how they're usually constructed, and overall they just follow the same flow of like a research paper. Beginning very concisely, they just restate the topic, purpose, and research question. They would describe the methods, like how you did your research, how you were able to answer the question, and then very briefly state the results, or in other words, what you learned from the research. And then also contain they would conclude with the research conclusions and recommendations, which is the so what. Why is this meaningful? What can we, what does this really, contribute to the knowledge? And so Isaiah, I was just walking him through an example here using this humanities example, since you all are in Dr. Ree's class, and that's what she has you working on, is reading a novel and writing a research paper about that. We also have this other example here, and it's an art example from a theater student. If you want to, we can just kind of look at this real quickly together. It might be a little bit faster in the interest of time, because I also want to give you all a little bit of time, to work on your own abstracts before we wrap up. But it might be best if we kind of try to look at this together, Selah. But what Isaiah done, what we did before you got here, is we just kind of took and broke down, this abstract here, where he identified, okay, this is the, here's our introductory sentence with the topic and the purpose. And then right here, the author is describing the research methods. This again kind of ties back into the purpose of the research. The sentence here tells us what the researcher learned. And then here we've got the conclusions and from the research. So if you want to take a quick look at this abstract here, Girls' Night Out. And based on, if you want to read through this really quickly, see if you can identify that sentence that describes the topic, the purpose, or the research statement.
I think I have it.
Okay, all right.
Is that sentence, the experience of this production were individually rewarding for each performer. Most importantly, we discovered how art, especially performing arts, is a collaborative process that demands discipline, open communication, organization, commitment, flexibility, and artistic vision.
So I think, are you looking at this as being the overall purpose of the research, you think?
Yes.
Or do you think maybe it would be, do you think it might be what they learned from the research? Kind of the so what. There's some clues in here. So look at this, like we discovered.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that particular wording had stuck out to me. That's why I chose that last sentence.
Mm-hmm. So this is telling, so this is, when we see words like that, like we discovered, then that's telling you what they did learn. So that's more of the research conclusion that they found. But if we look up here, and I think this one is a little bit, I do think that this one's a little bit tricky, because I think that this could be,
Yes, that's why I second guessed that one.
yeah,
it is.
Because I think that this could also be confused with what they did. But I think that this was the purpose. When I look at this, what I'm seeing here is that the purpose of this performance was to celebrate women in musical research. You actually would take off the required research and planning for its success, but this was the purpose. They were developing a cabaret show to celebrate. And then if we looked at what they did, like how were they able to develop this? Well, we know that they so a lot of this I think is maybe unnecessary. But if you skip down to here, and that's one of the things that we talked about before you joined too, is that we want abstracts to be really concise. So we know that they collaborated, but what they did to get this script was they watched various various performances, concerts. They read interviews, biographies, critical reviews, so they could get a real sense of the women's personalities and stage personas. Okay. So that's their research piece. That was their methods that they did. Does that make sense to you, Selah?
Yes, that makes sense. Thank you.
Uh-huh. And then again, I think that this is probably unnecessary information in an abstract. But here we can look for, there's another clue here. Because when we're asking about like, what was the result of their research? And so they tell you right there, the result of their efforts was that they had this 30-minute, cabaret. So this might be something, this particular example, although I've pointed out some places where it's a bit wordy and contains information that may not be necessary. It could, help you with your own senior thesis as you write up the abstract to describe what you're doing for your thesis project. All right, I'm going to go back. So let me skip ahead. We did the group exercise there. And I'm gonna upload something into the chat box for you. This is just a template that'll help you write your abstract. So I think you should be able to download that. And I'm going to pull it up on my screen. And this is just a fillable, kind of a fillable form in a Word document that will help you, walk you through step by step to write your abstract. So I wanted to make sure, since this is a workshop, I wanted to make sure that we had time for questions and for you all to get started. If you wanted to use that time for that with the remainder 9 minutes that we've got today. So Sayla, with you coming in late, were there any questions that I can help you with in the last couple of minutes?
I actually feel like some of what we just talked about and the examples you were giving were very good tidbits to keep in mind for the process of writing abstract. I feel like in the past, I just, an abstract in some ways to certain people is seen as kind of like a secondary introductory paragraph. And so I'm always being an analytical thinker in terms of how can I make sure that this is seen as an abstract, or what questions can I continue to keep in mind that I make sure I answer in this abstract versus making it sound repetitive of an introductory paragraph. And so some of the keywords and the distinctive words that you were pointing out were great tidbits of information in the last slide that you just showed with the questions to keep in mind in the slideshow. That honestly keeps me very focused with just reminders. I'm that type of person. I love to see reminders or repetitive information.
Very good. Very good. I think that's a very astute observation too, recognizing that, yes, a lot of people interpret or use the abstract just as an introductory paragraph, where it is not. It's a very concise summary of the research or the creative works. A couple of things that we went over before you came on, and I will, well, actually I can just upload this here. But here are the characteristics of an effective abstract. And so, yeah, I will do this right now and go ahead and upload this whole presentation. So both of you have access after, here we go, 10:27, yep. It's a big file, hopefully it'll upload okay. Isaiah, how about you? Do you have any questions? Is there anything that I can help you with?
No, I'm fine. I think I got the down pack, especially with breaking it down and knowing what I need to do for the abstract part and seeing the differences.
Good. Yeah, and I definitely encourage you. You can see my Word document right on the screen.
Yeah,
because I'm sharing my desktop. Yeah, I encourage you to use that template. At least give it a try, because I think it breaks it down to those 4 individual pieces for you, and then it's just a matter of combining it into a single paragraph after that. Yeah, oftentimes these, don't be mistaken that something, thinking that something that's so short to write will be easy to write. Because I think that's, for me personally, that's always been a challenge, to be able to really condense and concisely state something. So definitely, spend some time on it. And it's a good check too, to understand, help you understand, what it is that you're doing for your research, what the purpose is, and to making sure that you can concisely, state that's a challenge. It's a good check. check on yourself to make sure that everything that you're doing does make sense. All right.
Yes, thank you.
Uh-huh. Do you want to spend the last couple of minutes, trying to work on the abstract yourself? Do you have other questions? Just let me know how I can help.
Yes, I think that I've already screenshotted just for another example for myself. What's on the screen. I see
Yeah.
some key messages, and not messages, some key questions that I can include and go back and actually put in addition to our work. Because we did our abstract a couple weeks ago in class and got our feedback on it. So I'm sure that we will be reworking that and having the option to resubmit.
Yeah. Okay.
And I can see already some things that I can just go ahead and work on, because we're doing the book Homecoming by Ya Gassi.
Okay.
And so my group, our overall topic is generational trauma.
Mhm.
And we're all taking ties from our majors to create our own subplots. So as a dancer major, I'm doing how generational trauma can store itself in the body and the ritualistic dances that come along with that, especially in African culture.
I love that.
Yes. And I think that I can, especially question number 3 about the learnings and findings, making sure that I really tie in that summary at the end, as well as like question number 2, the data analysis, putting both of those to work hand in hand, instead of just introducing something and wrapping it up in one paragraph.
It sounds like you're really on the right track. And I will, if you're, I recognize that some of you all might not be on a device where you can download from the chat box. So I will also send you everything via email. Okay.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I would, since you all are both juniors and seniors, I do a graduate workshop series via Smith Institute, and you can find out more information about that online. And I'll also send you some information about that. But if you're considering, graduate school, you're probably like Selah, you're probably already looking if you've thought about that. But I offer the workshop really helps students to with their, think about these different application requirements, like the personal statements, like how to find a graduate school, how to ask for letters of recommendation, covers those topics. For you, Isaiah, it covers topics like, how to prepare yourself for graduate school, what you could be doing now as a junior to get ready, what graduate school might have to offer you. So if you all, have even thought about graduate school, even if you haven't, I would definitely encourage you to check those out. It's really one of the favorite workshops that I do.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Thank
All right.
you.
I'll let Dr. Reed know that you all were here. And I appreciate everything. And if there's nothing else, we can go ahead and sign off.
Okay, thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. All right. Take care.
Have a good
Bye-bye.
day.
Thanks for your patience at the beginning.